What's up, guys? We're back, and today going to be going over the March Madness tournament. As usual, let's get straight into it. Alabama versus Texas A&M Corpus Christi or SEMO. Alabama's winning that one. I don't see any 16 seeds upsetting 1 seeds this year. It's just not going to happen. We got a tough 8-9 matchup. Maryland versus West Virginia. West Virginia has a couple of good guys on their team. Trey Mitchell, Eric Stevenson, Joe Toussaint. Maryland has, Jameer Young. West Virginia is in the toughest conference, while Maryland is in the second best conference in the Big Ten. They've had a couple good wins, beat Miami, but West Virginia, I don't know. This is, the 8-9s are kind of a toss-up. I'm feeling West Virginia, but, it could really go either way. Then we got San Diego State versus Charleston. Tough 5-12 game. Charleston, of course, one of the best 12 seeds in this bracket. They have great wins. They've only lost 3 times. One was to UNC very early in the season. Then the other 2 were, I think, Towson and Hofstra. So those were whatever. They beat Penn State, beat Virginia Tech. So they do have some solid wins for being a mid-major. While San Diego State, they have a couple tough losses. Lost to Arizona, St. Mary's. Have a good couple wins in the Mountain West. But other than that, they're not that great of a team. They are pretty, they do have a lot of depth on that roster, which is nice. But against Charleston, I feel like this is definitely one of those 12 over 5s. The only thing about this is that last year, I feel like everyone had the consensus 12 over 5s of UAB over Houston. And there was one other 12. It was Indiana over St. Mary's. Everyone was like, okay, those are the 2 12 seeds that are going to win. And then the two 12 seeds that actually won was New Mexico State over Uconn and Richmond over Iowa, which no one was picking. So I feel like that's another thing to take into account. It's not always a favorite 12 seeds. It's just the 2 12 seeds that play the best. So, I mean, it's hard to just pick, okay, well, these guys are going to play better, but that's something to take into account. Then we got Virginia Furman. Virginia is definitely not a team that I'm very high on. They have a couple good wins, beat Baylor, beat Illinois. They split the series with Duke, beat UNC twice. But they have a couple tough losses, one especially being Boston College. Furman has not beat any great teams. They haven't really played any top 25 teams anyway. But they're definitely one of the weaker 13 seeds, and I got Virginia moving on. Then we got Creighton, NC State. Very good 6-11 matchup. Creighton, they are one of the more inconsistent teams, which is kind of sucks because I do really like this Creighton team. They got a very good starting 5. The only thing about them is that is literally the only good players on their team. They just play their starting 5. Other than that, they get maybe 2 other people in there every once in a while. But you really just got to they have to rely on their starting 5 being good. The only good thing about that, though, is that they have 5 very, very solid guys that could score for them. So if they don't have this one guy they're relying on to get points, and if he doesn't play well, they have 4 other guys around him that can play well. So I got Creighton beating NC State, and they are a team to watch out for because they could either lose in the first round here, or they could go on a run to where they could potentially make the Elite 8. We got Baylor UCSB. UCSB is a solid 14. Baylor was supposed to be a 12, or not 12. Baylor was looking to be a 2 before this, but then, they lost to Iowa State in the Big 12 conference tournament, and they just dropped seed line. They are still a very, very good team. Got great players in Adam Flagler, Keontae George. There are just the center position for them is kind of questionable, but against UCSB, I feel like they should be able to get it done. Then we got Missouri versus Utah State. All these 7-10s, 8-9s, and 6-11 matchups are very, very good. This is definitely one of the good 7-10 matchups. Missouri beat Tennessee twice. They had a really tough loss against Kansas. Lost to Alabama twice. Lost to Texas A&M twice. They have a couple good wins on their resume. A couple bad losses. Utah State, on the other hand, their only real bad resume thing is that they lost to San Diego State all the times that they play them. But they beat Boise State twice. They beat Oral Roberts. Beat New Mexico. They beat some good teams. And they are very, very hot right now. So I feel like I got to have them moving on. Then we got Arizona versus Princeton. Arizona. I don't see any 15 seeds beating 2 seeds either this year. I just don't really have much faith in any of these 15 seeds. And Arizona definitely definitely proved me wrong in that Pac-12 conference tournament championship against UCLA, and they came out on top and kind of made me believe in them more. And then we got Purdue versus Texas Southern, or Fairleigh Dickinson. I got Texas Southern winning that one, but it doesn't matter because Purdue's going to win. Then we have a really, really good 8-9 matchup that I did not want to see go against each other because both of these teams could win this game and go far. Memphis, they just beat Houston in their title game. Although Houston did not have Marcus Sasser, they are still a very, very good team. They got Kendrick Davis, great star point guard for him. He can shoot the lights out. He can be their go-to guy. And then they also have good players around him, and DeAndre Williams. Keontae Kennedy, I think, is out for the season, but they have Alex Lomax. They got a bunch of guys around him. While Florida Atlantic is probably the best mid-major because they basically got an auto bid. They have that weird play style of a mid-major where they have slow tempo, or they have a semi-slow tempo, and usually those slow tempos end up winning the most games come March Madness time. So I honestly have no idea who I really believe in, but I'm getting a little more confident in Memphis here. But I'm not. But FAU is definitely a team to look at. This region right here, this is one of the most just crazy regions. Got Duke, Oral Roberts. Duke's probably the best 5 seed. Oral Roberts probably the best 12 seed. This is a very sucky matchup for both of them because Duke could have been on that 4 line, could have had an easier matchup. Oral Roberts could have had any other 5 seed to go up against, and they would have been not a guaranteed win, but they would have definitely had a better chance. Only 4 losses on the season were against Houston, St. Mary's, Utah State, and New Mexico. None of those are bad losses. Maybe you might want to get that New Mexico win, but other than that, they're fine. And Duke did just win the ACC tournament. They beat Virginia. They beat Miami on that way to win that win too. And they are getting hot at the right time. They started off kind of rough, but now some of their freshmen are kind of really finding their role. They're playing as a team more. And against Oral Roberts, as much as I might want to pick Oral Roberts here, I'm feeling Duke a little more. Then we got Tennessee versus Louisiana. Louisiana is a tough 13 seed to go up against, but Tennessee, I'm not high on Tennessee at all. Most of these 4 seeds I'm not very high on. I think there's 1 or 2 that I'm very high on, but then Virginia and Tennessee are definitely 2 that I'm not looking at to go far. Tennessee doesn't have Zakai Ziegler. That's basically their best player. He's the guy that orchestrates their offense, their star point guard, or the starting point guard. I don't think he's a star, but he's definitely a very good point guard. They have great wins. They beat Texas, beat Bama, beat Kansas. They have good wins against the top teams. Then they also have some questionable losses recently. And honestly, I feel like I still got to go with Tennessee here, but they're not a team to have much faith in. We got Kentucky versus Providence. It's funny, Providence, Bryce Hopkins used to play for Kentucky, then he transferred away from him, and now he's doing better at Providence. But Kentucky's another team that's heating up at the right time. They did lose to Vanderbilt in the conference tournament, but they are still a very good team. You got Oscar Tshiebwe, of course, who is the very dominant center that's just going to out-rebound everyone on the court all the time. Got a great shooter in Antonio Reeves. Got Cason Wallace, Xavier Wheeler to orchestrate their offense. And they just are an all-around solid team while Providence is slowly kind of dropping off. So I got Kentucky moving on in this one. And then we got Kansas State versus Montana State. If Kansas State got any other 14 seed, I honestly would pick the 14 seed, but Montana State's definitely not a great team. They got Raquan Battle, but I don't see them winning here. Kansas State has obviously the duo of Keontae Johnson and Marquise Noel. Marquise Noel has been a little inconsistent recently, but Keontae Johnson has still been good. And they are coming off of that loss against TCU in their conference tournament. So they're definitely a team to not have a bunch of faith in either, but I got them beating Montana State. Then we got Michigan State versus USC. Michigan State, very good team again. Got great guard playing with Tyson Walker and AJ Hogard. While USC, they had a tough loss against ASU in the conference tournament. They have a couple good wins. They beat UCLA already, but they're not that great of a team. Boogie Ellis is a very good player for them, along with Drew Peterson. But against Michigan State, I got Michigan State winning that one. It sucks that Vermont is the 15 seed here. I thought they were going to be on the 14 or 13 line because they are a very good team. And Marquette jumped up that 2 line. It's very reasonable because they got Tyler Kolek. They won the Big East Conference Tournament, and they have a bunch of great wins on their resume. Marquette's definitely heating up. They're one of the fastest offensive teams in the nation, and just Tyler Kolek alongside all of the supporting cast at Marquette, I gotta have them moving on. That brings us over here to Houston versus Northern Kentucky. Houston, I don't know. The only thing is that Houston, I used to have a lot of confidence in, but the only thing about them is that Marcus Sasser did suffer an injury, and I mean, it's looking that he's going to be better and back, hopefully by the round of 32. I mean, hopefully by the round of 64, but it's realistically more like the round of 32 or Sweet 16. Sucks to see him go down, but if he's going to be back around here, then they still definitely are a team to have a lot of faith in. But right now, I don't know. They could be not upset by Northern Kentucky, but this matchup here definitely poses a threat to them if he's not healthy. Then that matchup is Iowa versus Auburn. Both great teams in their respective conferences. Both also coming off of tough losses in their respective conference tournaments. Iowa obviously lost to Ohio State, while Auburn lost to Arkansas. Iowa, they got Keegan Murray's brother, Chris Murray, who's definitely not as good as him, but still a solid player. Auburn, you got Wendell Green over there. You got, I think, Alan Flanagan, Johnny Broom. Solid overall team. They got a great defense over there. But Iowa, I feel like, has a better resume alongside a better group of players, and they've just been more consistent, I feel like, in the season. Although both these teams have been pretty inconsistent, I got Iowa winning. We got Miami versus Drake. Drake is definitely a team to look at to upset someone, but I do also really like Miami. I don't know about Norchad Omier. I think he was injured in the ACC tournament. I don't know if he'll be back by then. If he'll be back by March Madness, I hope he will, because then that will make this pick a lot easier, because then I'd probably have Miami winning. But right now, man, Drake is looking good. They got Tucker DeVries, have a really good defense on that team. And I don't know, man. How many 12 seeds have I picked? I picked 1. And then, yeah, I'm probably going to go with Drake here. Then we got Indiana versus Kent State. Kent State is a very, very good 13 seed. They beat Toledo in their conference championship. Toledo was a team that I had a lot of faith in. But Kent State, their defense is insane. They got a great defense, great resume. They beat Toledo twice, and they barely lost to Houston, Gonzaga, and Charleston. Those are 3 great teams above them. Definitely a team to look at for a potential upset over Indiana. The only thing is that Indiana has such a good team, and I feel like they're not going to take advantage of this opportunity, and Trace Jackson Davis and Jalen Hood-Schifino are going to go out guns blazing and probably win them a game here. So I got Indiana. We got Iowa State versus Mississippi State or Pitt. Mississippi State or Pitt, the winner of that game, I probably have Mississippi State. And against Iowa State got a lucky draw here. Could have had a lot of harder of an 11 seed to go up against. But they still got Jaron Holmes, Gabe Kalshuer. They are still a good team, but they're another team that I'm not looking at I don't have a lot of faith in them. But with that being said, I still believe they're going to be able to beat Mississippi State or Pitt. We got Xavier versus Kennesaw State. Xavier, very good team. Did get blown out by Marquette just not too long ago in the Big East Conference Tournament Championship. But you have a great rotation. Only thing about them, Zach Freemantle is injured for the rest of the season. That's their starting power forward. Gone. Not their leading scorer. They got a couple good guys around them that will still be able to definitely win them games. They got Soleil Boom, Jack Nunge, Colby Jones. Got a good team over there. And against Kennesaw State, I feel like they definitely win this one. Then we got Texas A&M versus Penn State. This is the matchup of the first round. Texas A&M, Penn State, two very, very hot teams right now. Both just lost in their respective conference tournament championships. Texas A&M lost to Alabama. Penn State lost to Purdue. Both have great guard play. Penn State obviously has Jalen Pickett, one of probably the best point guard in the nation right now. Texas A&M got the combination of Wade Taylor IV and Tyrese Radford. This game is a toss-up. Either team could win. Both are doing great right now. It's tough, man. I don't know. It's honestly just a coin flip. I'm feeling probably more Penn State. I was a little more confident in them. And then Texas Colgate. This is the only other 15 seed that can maybe get an upset, but against Texas, who I feel is probably the strongest 2 seed, I don't see it. Texas looking very, very good recently. They beat Kansas twice to end the season. One in the regular season, one in the conference tournament championship. Beat TCU along that way too. Also beat who was it? Oklahoma State. They're not in the bracket, but good win. Colgate, times that they have played the best teams like Auburn, they did lose. So that's something to look at. And I feel like Texas definitely gets this one done. Then we got Kansas versus Howard. Kansas, very good team. We'll definitely be able to get past Howard in the first round. Then we got Arkansas versus Illinois. Arkansas has great guard play in Nick Smith Jr. I'm blanking on the other guy's name. They got Anthony Black. And they have another guard. I can't remember his name. I don't know why. Who is it? That's going to bother me. But Arkansas is still a very good team against Illinois, who is one of the hardest teams to really pick to win or lose. They are just the hardest team to try to predict because they can either be really good or really bad. They're just up and down, have a really up and down season. Have some good players over there, and Terrence Shannon, Matthew Meyer. But I got Arkansas winning that one. We got St. Mary's versus VCU. Already picked 2 12/5s, so I feel like there's 3 of them aren't going to happen, especially not VCU is probably the weakest 12 seed, even though St. Mary's is probably one of the weakest 5 seeds. St. Mary's is still a great team. Got Aiden Mahaney, good freshman over there, alongside great defense. Got veteran players in Logan Johnson. VCU did have a good win against Dayton. Got Adrian Baldwin Jr. on that team. But I feel like St. Mary's will still be able to get it done. They have their special offense that they run, or a special just play style. And I got them beating them. Then we got Uconn versus Iona. Tough for Iona. Any other 4 seed and they probably could have won, but Uconn is just very, very good. They're one of those teams that's potentially gonna make a run to the Final Four. So I got UConn winning that one. Then we got TCU versus ASU, the winner of ASU and Nevada. Either of these teams, very good teams. Nevada, I didn't even have making the bracket, but I'm surprised they did. TCU also very, very good team. They got Mike Miles, they got Emmanuel Miller over there, they got Damian Baugh. They had a pretty good run in the conference tournament. Before losing to Texas, they had some good wins. Beat Kansas State, of course. They're a good team. Let me see if I picked any other 11s to beat 6s. No, I beat all 6s, so I gotta have 1-11 winning. I got ASU winning that Nevada game, and I got ASU moving on. These 6 seeds this year, though, are definitely good. Creighton and Kentucky, I don't see losing either of those games. But then Iowa State, they could lose that game, but those are 2 of the probably weaker 11 seeds. So just tough draw. Gotta have one of those matchups going to an 11. So ASU or Nevada, probably ASU. We got Gonzaga versus Grand Canyon. Gonzaga, good team. Obviously, they got Drew Timme, probably one of the best centers in all of college basketball. GCU had a good run to make the conference after beating, I believe it was Sam Houston State in the conference tournament, and then they also beat Southern Utah in the championship. They are a solid team, nothing amazing. They got solid solid players on that team. Got Rayshawn Harrison, he was leading them. But against Gonzaga, I feel like Gonzaga's too tough competition. Got Gonzaga winning that one. Then we got Northwestern versus Boise State. Boise State, very good team. Northwestern is as well. Northwestern has some good wins on the resume. Beat Purdue, beat Indiana both times, beat Michigan State. But they also have a couple tough losses. They lost to Illinois, Rutgers, other teams as well. Boise State had an up and down season in the Mountain West. They beat Texas A&M, which is a good win. But then they also lost to Mexico, Nevada. They split the series with those guys. And Northwestern definitely has a solid guard play. Boo Buie, Chase DJ, Ty Berry. Boise State has, again, solid players. But I'm also not counting in the Mountain West. I don't really believe in them that much because they have not been doing well in the tournament recently. So I got to take that into account. I got Northwestern moving on. And then UCLA versus UNC Asheville. UNC Asheville's a solid team. Got Drew Pember over there, but UCLA will be able to get it done. Not too many upsets. The lowest upset is a 12/5. So I feel like there probably will be a 13 winning somewhere. Maybe it's Louisiana, maybe it's Furman, maybe it's Kent State. But I feel like these are just the most reasonable picks right now. Obviously, this isn't going to be perfect. No one's getting the perfect bracket this year. Sorry, hate to break it to you. But I feel like these are the most reasonable picks. Alabama over West Virginia. Definitely, Brandon Miller, just been great. They might be a little questionable as you get into the tougher matchups down here. But for right now, I definitely got Alabama winning that one. We got Charleston beat Virginia. Charleston, I feel like just the best mid-major right now against Virginia, who I don't believe in very much. Got Charleston winning. We got Creighton versus Baylor. Man, this is a tough matchup. Baylor, obviously, very good team. But I just really like Creighton. I don't know. I just really like Creighton. And Arizona versus Utah State. Got to go with Arizona. Zeus Tubelis and Umar Ballo. I don't see Utah State having anyone to handle those guys. So I got U of A moving on. Purdue versus Memphis. This could be a controversial pick, but I'm picking Memphis. I got Kendrick Davis being able to hold Zach Edey down. This is a tough matchup right here, though. It's just Purdue. Zach Edey could always be great and have a great game. Memphis doesn't have one of those tall guys to really hold him down. But Purdue is relying on mainly Zach Edey, and then they have freshman guard play, who they are good freshman guards, but they're also freshmen, so they don't have too much experience. Could, should not show up in the conference tournament, or could not show up in March Madness because the pressure gets to them. So I got Memphis moving on. Really like this Memphis team. And if FAU ends up winning this game, I got FAU moving on too. They would just be too hard for Purdue to handle. I don't believe in Purdue that much. Got Memphis moving on from that one. Then we got Duke beating Tennessee. Duke just definitely looking a lot better than Tennessee recently. Kentucky over Kansas State. Kentucky, very, very solid team. Kansas State has some questionable things going on around them. Is Marquise Noel going to be consistent? Is Keontae Johnson going to be good? I feel like Kentucky's just the hotter team right now, so I got them moving on. Then we got Marquette beating Michigan State. This is a very tough matchup for Marquette, though. Michigan State, their guard play could just kill Marquette, but Marquette's been hotter, and I got to go with them to move on to the Sweet 16. We got Houston versus Iowa. I got Houston winning. Hopefully Marcus Satzer is healthy. Even if he's not, I feel like they still probably will be able to get past Iowa. Still got a very good team over at Houston. Great defense. Drake over Indiana. I don't know. I'm feeling Indiana. Just like Drake, because I don't know, man. You could have Miami moving on past Indiana, but if Drake wins, then I got Indiana winning. But this could honestly be Kent State too, so it's really up in the air. I have no idea. But Indiana over Drake, I feel, is the reasonable pick for this matchup. Trace Jackson Davis is just going to be too much for Drake to handle. Got Indiana moving on. We got Xavier versus Iowa State. Definitely have a lot more faith in Xavier this season. Iowa State not looking amazing. Could definitely get upset. definitely get upset by Mississippi State or Pitt, but then definitely if Xavier makes it to the next round as well, I got Xavier moving on. Then Texas Penn State. This is such a tough matchup because any other two seed I would have Penn State over them, but Texas, man, I just really like this Texas team. And yes, it's a very basic 1-4-3-2, but it's what I feel like is gonna happen. Down here, definitely don't have a basic 8-5-6-2, so got enough kind of mix up. Down here, you know, this is another tough game to pick between Kansas, Arkansas, because Arkansas's guard play they just got really good guys over there. I don't know if Kansas is gonna be able to handle them, but they probably will. I got Kansas moving on. We got St. Mary's versus Uconn. Uconn just feel a lot more confident with Uconn and Dom Sanogo, Jordan Hawkins, Tristan Newton. They got a very good team over there. ASU versus Nevada. All right, not ASU versus Nevada. ASU versus Gonzaga. Got Gonzaga moving on. And then UCLA or Northwestern. Man, I don't know. It's like if you just swapped UCLA and Texas, or if you swap these 7-10 matchups, like if you put Penn State down here, I got them beating UCLA all day. But Northwestern, I don't really see it. And now I'm questioning myself because I have two back-to-back 1-4-3-2s, which there's no way that happens. I feel like I might go with Penn State over Indiana and throw Kent State into the Sweet 16. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that instead. So then we got Alabama versus Charleston. Alabama, very, very good team. Brandon Miller, of course, again, feel like they will be able to beat Charleston. And Creighton versus Arizona. Much as I love Arizona, they always let me down. So I got Creighton moving on. Even though, because Creighton does have Ryan Kalkbrenner and Arthur Kaluma, who could at least hold down those two dominant bigs at Arizona a little bit. So I got Creighton winning that one. Then we got Memphis versus Duke. This is where I see Kendrick Davis run ending. I got Duke. And then Kentucky versus Marquette. I got Kentucky. You know, Battle of the Blue Buds in the Elite Eight. Definitely it would be a cool matchup to see. Then we got Uconn versus Gonzaga in the next round. Kansas, I just feel like there's no way they repeat again. They could do really well, but I don't see them going super far this year, especially against Uconn, who I believe in a lot. I got Uconn winning. And then got Gonzaga over UCLA because UCLA is missing Jalen Clark, their defensive player. This is the best defensive player on that team, as well as their second leading scorer. So I got Gonzaga moving on. Gonzaga definitely just has a better overall team. Now we got Houston against Kent State. Got Houston winning that one. And then Texas over Xavier. This will be a great matchup to see, man. I just really like Texas. And then over Kent State, I feel like Kent State has a little bit of a run, but not much more than that. Then Alabama versus Creighton. I got to go with... I don't know. I feel like I got to go with Creighton here. I'm just really liking this Creighton team. I got to go with Alabama. I feel like Creighton is going to be a little inconsistent in one of these games. Then we got Duke versus Kentucky. That's where I see Duke's run ending. I got Kentucky winning this one. Hopefully, because I feel like Kentucky's also going to be on a little bit of a revenge tour. They lost in the first round last year to St. Peter's. And I feel like their main guys, Oscar Tshiebwe is not going to let that slide. He's going to come back and he's going to be a dominant beast, as well as just John Calipari's coach, and will be able to get them to the Final Four. Then I got Uconn over Gonzaga. Uconn, very, very solid team. Again, I just really like this team. I got them over Gonzaga. Then we got Houston versus Texas. As much as I would say Houston, I just really, really like this Texas team. Marcus Card, Tyrese Hunter in the backcourt, with hopefully Timmy Allen's healthy. But even if he's not, they still got Jabari Rice, Dylan Dessou, Dylan Mitchell. I got Texas winning that one. Then we have a pretty solid Final Four here. Yeah, Alabama versus Kentucky, Texas versus UConn. I got Alabama beating Kentucky. I feel like Brandon Miller is just going to have a great tournament run. Then Texas against UConn. Texas, very, very solid team. I feel like their guard play is going to be a little too much for UConn. Hopefully they're playing consistent. I got Texas moving on. And then against Alabama, close matchup. Both teams very, very good. But I feel like Texas is going to win it all. I feel like this is Texas's year. So yeah, that is my March Madness bracket. And you know, this year's about to be amazing, man. Can't wait. Other than that, like, subscribe if you feel like it, and I will see you guys later.